This is Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Welcome to the traditional football party in Pasadena, California. The featured guests on this New Year's Day, the Iowa Hawkeyes and the UCLA Bruins. Pasadena, California, after these messages from your local station. Join us now as NBC Sports presents the 1986 Rose Bowl Preview. And its grand history continues. The sun trying to burn through a morning and midday fog here in Pasadena, California. The UCLA Bruins, the champions of the Pacific 10, 2 plays shy of an unbeaten year themselves against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Their perfect season ruined on one rainy day in Columbus, Ohio, as they lost to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Happy New Year, everyone. Let's hope this is the best of all, 86 and peaceful indeed.
Dick, it's great to be back with you and great to be here in the Rose Bowl. This is a game that brings us all to a time of new beginnings and special memories, and I think we're going to have a great football game as well.
Many feel it will be a high-scoring and close game. Iowa is favored. The Hawkeyes, ranked 3rd in the nation in the coaches' poll, they still have outside hopes of being a national champion.
I think that's one of their incentives, but mostly they'd like to erase the memories of a 28-0 loss. Hayden Fry has a better team here this year. They deserve to be favored, Dick.
And we're blessed with many All-Americans. We'll meet those featured performers in a moment.
My wife is here.
The basso profundo approach to a Happy New Year.
Well, so far, this opening day of the new year has been a very good one for UCLA.
UCLA, and it mirrors the way the Rose Bowl has gone. They lost their first 5. Now they're trying to win 5 in a row. Big Ten dominating early, and the Big Ten can't seem to buy a win here of late. Long looking for the big play. He's got it to Happel at the 44-yard line, and a first down. Craig Rutledge made the tackle, and Long a good throw while being hit.
Under pressure, knew he was going to take the shot. From the left side of your screen, you'll see the pressure arriving, and Long will not lose his concentration. That's Terry Toomey, but he gets the ball to one of his favorites, one of those sticky fingers, Happel, and he just nails that in his hands, takes the shots. He's got the first down.
Bill Happel Sr. caught a touchdown pass here in the 57 game from Kenny Plain, a great Hawkeye quarterback. He was running out of room and time. They were calling for intentionally downing the ball in the grasp. Frank Batchkoff had him.
Costly penalty. Now mark that, I think, all the way back from the spot of the foul.
That's where he would have gone down, says referee Tom Quinn. That's a loss of down penalty. It's about as tough a call as you can get in the college game.
Here's one of the defensive coordinators. UCLA employs 2 defensive coordinators, Tom Hayes and Bob Field. Bob Field up in the press box. Tom Hayes down on the field. He's the one in the white sweater there who sends in the calls. He handles the front 7, basically, and Bob Field handles the defensive backs. You'd think that Bob Field would be on the field instead of Tom Hayes. There you see the call going in.
Wait a minute, is this an Abbott and Costello?
No. There you see the calls. He's making the signals for the defense. They apparently are able to work very comfortably together, agreeing on what they want to do defensively, sending in the calls. We've mentioned that Bill Schneider, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, or the not Seahawks, Hawkeyes. You get those Hawks in there somehow.
Well, A tough penalty from the spot where Long was going down. They marked off 5 yards plus loss of down, so he's facing 2nd and 31 and looking for help.
Race you back to the start.
There's something about a Nissan 4x4 that makes turning it off just about the toughest thing you can do. And right now, it's even tougher to turn down. To celebrate its best truck sales year ever, Nissan is offering special factory incentives to dealers that can help save you hundreds of dollars on all this outrageous performance.
Who won? Who cares?
Make your best deal right now. The name is Nissan.
Change of pace. Who says you can't have light beer with super premium taste? Michelob Light. Oh, yes, you can. Michelob Light. Oh, yes, you can.
Super premium taste and a less filling beer.
Michelob Light. Oh, yes, you can. Have it all.
The Granddaddy, the 1986 Rose Bowl, brought to you by Nissan, builders of technologically advanced cars and trucks for over 50 years. For drivers who demand quality, the name is Nissan. By Michelob Light, super premium taste and a less filling beer. Who says you can't have it all? And by NCR, who'll bring you a better personal computer. Tom Quinn getting a little repair work on that microphone, and as Chuck Long comes back on the field, it's 2nd and 31 for Iowa at the Hawkeye 24.
Now, plenty of time yet in this football game. They're 2 touchdowns down. They do have some fine speed receivers. Chuck Long can throw the football. They still have the ability to run. UCLA has done a fine job defensively, but most of the problem for this Hawkeye team has come on the turnover, those costly fumbles. They still have to believe that if they can get down, get a touchdown, get that ball back, they've got plenty of time to put themselves back into a tie or even with a 2-point conversion to go ahead.
2nd and long, the fake draw, which they've used so often. Then down the middle, almost intercepted by Steve Jarecki. Bill Happel was open 10 yards downfield, but Jarecki, 6'2" and 228, leaping high to bat it down.
Good play by Jarecki. That ball, I believe, would have been completed. Apple had plenty of movement in there. He's laid up in the middle. Look at Jarecki just go up and put a big old paw up there on it. He almost got his other hand on it to intercept it.
Now 3rd and 30 or 31. There's Jarecki from the Napa area, just outside San Francisco, where Californians are so proud of their wine production. Drawn offside. We'll soon learn.
That's what they're saying, yep. Batchkoff, number 92, moved, claimed that Mike Haight, number 79, was up.
False snap. On the snapper, false snap.
Well, he's saying it was on the center. Let's see if we can see it here. Now, I believe it had happened just prior to that. It looked to me like that center did rock that football a little bit. I think it happened right as we turned the camera on him.
So 3rd and a long 35 for Long.
False snap. Offense.
Ronnie Harmon has been his favorite target. 9 catches for 100 yards today. A couple of those little shovel passes, of course, figuring in. That's Harmon in motion. They throw to him.
Double pass.
No one downfield except a couple of UCLA players. James Washington was one of them.
He doesn't have any choice. I think he's coached. If the play is not there, throw it away and get rid of it. He put that one so far out of bounds that none of his teammates on the sideline could catch it. Did not fool this UCLA defense. And one of the things that Iowa is famous for is what Hayden Fry calls his exotics. This is one of them, the double pass. Well, do you think that's far enough out of bounds?
Well, that is out of bounds, even on the 14th over at the local country club.
Now, here's that strange punting formation that we've seen Iowa use occasionally. Kind of a squibby punt. Castrobala, I'll get it, Dick.
Only 10 yards back.
He kicks it from a short position, and they bring everybody in tight.
Ooh. It was a dangerous fair catch and effort by Gifford Irvin.
And we have a timeout with 14 and a half minutes left.
It was Sarah's birthday, but she didn't think her daddy would make it. His work never seemed to let up, and his office wasn't exactly built for speed. But lately, he'd been doing something about it. He brought in Team Xerox, with Xerox memory writers, personal computers, and printers that helped his people work together more productively and his work get out faster. Team Xerox not only got his office up to snuff, but gave him one very important side benefit.
Happy birthday, sweetheart.
I can't believe the car broke down again.
Keep walking.
We should have bought that Nissan Sentra.
Should have bought a Sentra.
Sentra's America's best-selling import, but do we have one? Oh, no.
Should have bought a
The
Sentra.
Browns have a Sentra. They swear by it. Drove cross-country. We break down going across the street.
Need a lift? Yes. Thank you.
See? It's a Sentra.
For quality you can depend on, name is Nissan.
This is Don Criqui in Miami. Tonight it's the Orange Bowl on NBC Sports. As for the fourth time in 5 years, the national championship of college football is directly tied to the outcome. Penn State and Oklahoma are the top two teams in the land. Coming up, now here again is Dick Enberg.
All right, Don. Boy, they'll be teeming with excitement in that Orange Bowl.
Let's take a quick look at that interesting punt formation. Look how tight that offensive line is. 9 yards for the punter, and then watch the man go in motion, and then they'll kick to that side on the outside with a short kick. Quinn Early getting out as a sprint man to the outside, and they kick it off to that right side.
But a short punt, about 38 yards, so UCLA takes over at its 46. And Eric Ball, what a day for this freshman, all the way to the 40-yard line. He is over 140 yards rushing today. Devon Mitchell made the tackle.
What's he going to do for an encore? He's already had one incredible day down at San Diego State. We mentioned that with 4 touchdowns there. But he has just hammered and hammered here today. Just the dominant running back by far on the field.
He's averaged over 10 yards a carry. Stevens a fake and then a roll. Throws to Durrell coming back, and he pays for it. Gear in on the tackle.
We mentioned this, the numbers on the starters who are seniors for Iowa. Look at that difference. The Hawkeyes will graduate 17 of their starters this year. They have 3 junior starters and only 2 sophomores, but look at the breakdown for UCLA. And they also have a very strong freshman class. It's a little bit different philosophy. I think the Hawkeyes, Hayden Fry, they want to use people. They want people in the system for a couple of years before they give them a chance to play.
Second down and a couple. Ball on his way to tie the Rose Bowl record. 4 touchdowns for Eric Ball. A total of 5 yards. Eric Ball has rushed for 174 yards today. 4 touchdowns for the freshman from Ypsilanti, Michigan. John Lee, another point on his Rose Bowl record, kicking in his 3rd Rose Bowl for UCLA. Timeout, 13:25 remaining.
The 1986 Nissan King Cab. This tough truck's real easy to handle, and now it's easier than ever to take. To let you share in Nissan's best truck sales year ever, special factory incentives to dealers can help save you hundreds of dollars on this roomy truck.
Hey, Bobby, how about a lift? No room. Your Nissan King Cab's got plenty of room.
Sometimes there's just too much room in a Nissan King Cab. Make your best deal on one right now. The name is Nissan.
The essence of bobsledding. The new sled feels like gliding on silk. The essence of shaving. This is new Atra Plus, an incredible advance in Gillette shaving smoothness. The Plus is this unique white strip that releases lubricants as you shave. You never felt anything smoother.
New Actra Plus by Gillette. The essence of shaving.
The Orange Bowl is coming up from Miami. The national championship on the line. Penn State against Oklahoma. A game that also features the most spectacular halftime show in college football. Now back to Pasadena, where UCLA is having a ball. Freshman Eric has scored 4 times. And the Bruins lead Iowa 38-17. And now it would be a miracle effort by Chuck Long and the Hawkeyes to rally. There is time, 13:25 left. Flag down. It appeared UCLA was offside. One of those designated hitters really got a running start. So they're going to bring this one back as Kevin Harmon stopped at the 20-yard line. Let's go back and appreciate the talents of the freshman UCLA runner again.
We have offside on the kicking team.
From ground level, you get a feeling for the power and also for the amazing speed. They call him what? The slow one?
The slow one, behind Primus and Gaston Green.
I don't want to have to chase the fast ones, I'll tell you that.
Officially now, 173 yards for Ball, whose touchdown runs impressively 30 yards, 40 yards, 6 yards, and 32 yards. That's Dennis Price, who has had shoulder problems all season long, and a dislocation knocked him out of a few games during the course of the year.
On top of that, he's had a couple of other long runs, one of 30 yards, I know, that was a non-scoring run. So he has really been the home run hitter today for this Bruin offense.
Well, we're going to see some outstanding athletes in that one. Unbeaten Penn State. We don't get any respect, Nittany Lions against the Oklahoma Sooners. And with Iowa losing here, there's the hero of the day for UCLA, Eric Ball. It would appear that there is no question that that game to be played for the championship national rankings.
There are the runs, Dick.
I think by error that graphic jumped in there saying Rose Bowl MVP, but who are you going to pick if it's not Eric Ball? Mike Flagg, the tight end, after UCLA penalized 5 yards. Steve Turecki doing a big job, the linebacker on special teams today.
Right at the end of that play, you get a feeling for the coaching and the alertness of this UCLA team. Jurecki not only making the tackle, but grabbing at that football, slapping at that football, trying to strip it away. And if you were with us from the start of this game, you know that UCLA has been able to do that very effectively all day long, getting 4 turnovers from Ronnie Harmon in the first half.
Now Chuck Long comes on the field with his team down 38-17. The Big Ten, starting back in 1947, the agreement between the Pac-10 and Big Ten. The Big Ten started out 112-13. People said, hey, maybe it's a mistake. The West Coast football isn't strong enough to stay with a powerful Big Ten. Then it kind of evened out, and now it's been all West Coast the last 2 decades. Hudson to the 33-yard line. And that'll be close to a first down, a 9-yard pickup. If UCLA does win today, it will be 17 trips out here for the Big Ten, home with only 2 wins in those 17.
Short 17-4-2 at home, and of course that includes including these Rose Bowl games as home game wins. But no question, we talked about it in the opening of this game. It is an advantage for UCLA to be here in this stadium.
I want you to clarify that point. It's more than just the obvious. As Long hits Happel, and Bill Happel struggling forward to the 48-yard line, and a penalty is going to be called. He was struggling, and apparently they felt that the hit was late.
Isolated on Happel.
Dead ball foul, personal.
Apparently the whistle had blown, even though Happel at this point was struggling forward. We can't hear the whistle, so if it's whistled dead here, then the hit by Washington is a dead ball foul.
James Washington, number 3, the last man in on the stack. He's shaking his head. He doesn't believe it. Dick, you started to talk about the home field. Not only is it the comfort of knowing the turf, and every turf has its own characteristics.
Personal defense. First down.
But it's also the advantage of being at home. I mean, they're staying in their own beds. They know where the locker rooms are. They just don't have all of the hassle that goes with the travel and with the staying in the hotel, the disorientation of a new practice facility and so forth.
Long stepping forward, just did elude a sack by Jarecki and picks up a couple of yards down to the UCLA 37-yard line. Well, from high above the Rose Bowl in the Goodyear Blimp, Columbia, 60 years now involved in bowl coverage. That has become a rather famous shot. With or without the bar. Happy New Year. The Blimp is on its way back to its resting spot along the coast. Harmon. Short yardage.
Dick, you look across the field at Terry Donahue and his team and his staff, and kind of wonder if maybe a young Terry Donahue didn't have a dream when he wrote to Pepper Rogers back at Kansas University and said, "You're 23 years old." He said, "Look, I want to coach. I want to do it so bad that I'll come back and coach for nothing." Pepper said, "You want to? Come on." And he went back there and worked that first year for nothing, and believe me, started to set a standard and gain a kind of attention and the knowledge that has allowed him to be such a successful coach.
Long to Harmon. Oh, what a painfully long afternoon for a great player, Ronnie Harmon. 4 fumbles lost in the first half and a sure touchdown dropped here in the fourth quarter.
Let's see if that ball touched any hands. It obviously was thrown well, a perfect strike by Long, who's waiting. Watch how quickly, when he decides to throw, how quickly that ball is in the air. I don't believe it touched any hands.
Like to make an excuse for Harmon, but that ball was right there.
I think he is going to have nightmares tonight. I'll tell you, as a player, you remember the mistakes you made, and when you've made the kind of obvious and in the open errors that Harmon has made today, you don't sleep much.
This would be a 51-yard field goal if Howland connects. Oh, look at the length on that one. Is it good? Hits the crossbar and bounces through. Howland, 51 yards. That's only 1 yard shy of the Rose Bowl record. Rich Spangler, 51-52. Timeout. It's 38-20 UCLA.
There's a time when others make decisions for you.
This one.
Later on, you make your own decisions. Now, many of you are being asked to make an important one. If you don't choose a long-distance company, one will be chosen for you, and it might not be the right one for you. So if the AT&T services you've always counted on are important to you, be sure to mail in the ballot you'll be receiving. This one, please. There's one way to be sure the right choice is made. Make it yourself. AT&T, the right choice.
Today, millions of Americans are better off than ever before. Better off with expertise on how to manage cash, finance mortgages, and accumulate assets. Better off with the finest insurance protection for their lives, property, and businesses. They're better off under the umbrella of one of America's largest diversified financial enterprises, the Travelers. Have you looked under the Travelers umbrella lately?
Rob Howland, just enough leg. And they're now saying 52 yards, officially tying the Rose Bowl record, Rich Spangler of Ohio State last year.
Fry is saying, we finally got something, and there's the onside kick.
And UCLA recovering easily. Well covered by number 48, Doug Klein, a freshman from Arvada, Colorado.
Well, it has been a long, long day for these Hawkeyes. This is not what they had in mind. And Dick, I got to wonder, Hayden Fry asked for a sacrifice from his players. He said, we're not going to go to Disneyland. We're going to concentrate on football. I think if they had won this game, that would have set a pattern. What does he tell them now? They've concentrated. They did their work. They still have lost the football game.
Meanwhile, Stevens to his tight end, Chanel. Inside the 35 to the 30 goes Chanel. Well, I know one group of people that may be a bit relieved, and that is those that are involved in the committees. There's so many committees for the Tournament of Roses, and they do such an outstanding job. But what does the entertainment committee for the visiting team do when they want to stay in a hotel? And as he probably even said kiddingly, play chess and little checkers and whatever. It's a tough one.
It is hard.
And it's not that he was going to deny them any fun. They have 2 days after the game, but boy, will it be fun now. UCLA on the march again with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left. That's Mel Farr. He is a sophomore. His younger brother, Mike, is a UCLA freshman wide receiver, so Mel Farr Sr. has sent his lads west.
We told you earlier about the stemming of the Iowa defense. Let's turn this loose. Now watch how steady they are. They have changed their philosophy, and when they change, it's usually because they're in trouble. Now they've not been effective with all the jumping around. In fact, UCLA has used that to their advantage, and Bill Brazier has just said, hey, we'll change. We'll try to get into the flow of this game.
Eric Ball is in the tail of that eye. He's off the blocks in a hurry. He's so strong. Those powerful legs driving forward. Jeff Drost throwing his 286 pounds on him at the 22-yard line, where it will be 3rd down and 2. There's David Norrie. Will he get at least a bow in this game, get a chance to come on and work a play?
Talk about tragedy. The story goes that Norrie was out kicking with John Lee when he strained that muscle in his leg, and he told me, he said, I played 4 sports since I was 7 years old. I have never torn a muscle or strained a muscle. He has got to be heartbroken.
Here comes Ball. He's already tied a record for touchdowns with 4. That'll be good enough for a first down as he goes over the 180-yard mark today. John Vrees with another tackle. We've called his name often today, number 57 for Iowa from Forest City.
The one thing I think, Dick, that would keep David Norrie from feeling even worse is the fact that his substitute and his friend, Matt Stevens, has played so well today and that his team is winning. That softens a lot of blows. Another thing we might think about is what changing of the quarterback did to the emotional level and the confidence level of this Iowa team.
Eric Ball again into a crowd, out of the crowd. They separated him all afternoon. He must be claustrophobic. He doesn't like it in there with all those other people. He seems to find his way into the clear, away from humanity, rather cleverly. That's the most yards rushing. We talked about that earlier. Charles White, our first game, Erlen and myself, back in 80, when White, the Heisman Award winner, he had, 71 yards of the final drive of over 80 and scored the winning touchdown. Eric Ball with 188 today.
There's one of those braces on the big man on the line of scrimmage. Wish I'd had some of those when I was playing, I'll tell you that.
Wilson in motion, first down UCLA at the Iowa 11. This is far to the 4. They asked Terry Donahue, I said, compare Mel Farr Jr. with his dad. He said, well, he didn't have the speed and quickness of his father. He's bigger and stronger. He said, they made a nice comment. He said, but like his dad, he carries his pads well. He said, it doesn't matter whether he's in shorts or in all those pads, doesn't change. He's the same player. Some players don't carry the extra weight as well.
He is an explosive fullback, and he has been a very valuable performer for them all year long.
First and goal from the 4. Will Ball set a record? Here's his chance. And Iowa denies at the 2.
This crowd suddenly very quiet. Iowa fans without a great deal to cheer about. On the far side, UCLA fans enjoying it, but enjoying it almost in silence.
38-20, the Bruins lead. Their top-scoring game of the year was a 41-0 win over Oregon State prior to their disappointing finale when USC upset them 17-13. At this moment, Eric Ball with 190 yards. And Eric Ball looking for a tying touchdown. He already has 4 touchdowns, looking for 5, a Rose Bowl record. It appears UCLA wants him to get it, and there is Rose Bowl history or not. No, at the half-yard line, they mark him out of bounds. I think that the folks down on the sidelines, or at least Stevens, is alert to the fact that Ball is on the doorstep of something special, and they want him to get that record.
I think they are, too. Homer Smith making the calls and sending them down through Terry Donahue, and I think they know what's going on. This game very comfortable for them. I think they'd like to put something in their record book as well as a victory.
Right on the goal line, a foot away. Watch 21 ball. Oops, Stevens takes the sneak, and he doesn't get in. And now they say touchdown, UCLA. Matt Stevens. Stevens not quite sure himself. Let's see to whom he goes. Let's follow Stevens. It's a nice story. He paid his dues. He's rooted for David Norrie most of the year. That's a third-string quarterback, Brendan McCracken, number 12, and there is partner at quarterback David Norrie. John Lee. David Clinton holding, and UCLA with its highest point total of the year. Iowa giving up more points than it allowed by 10 all season long. And the question mark remains over the power of the Big Ten Conference. Year after year, they come out to the West Coast as favorites and go home well beaten.
Here's that last play. Stevens just burrowing like a little chipmunk. They just got in there amongst those big guys and wiggled his shoulders and stuck that football over the goal line. I'll tell you this, Terry Donahue is going to be a tough act to follow. This will be the 4th New Year's Day victory that he has put together back-to-back.
Two Rose Bowls, a Fiesta, another Rose.
Another Rose Bowl.
And a young team that is going to return. And he said, man, I've got a wonderful opener next year just to open on the road at Oklahoma.
Well, you know, they only had 4 home games this year. They overcame that and overcame some serious injuries to be here for this game today.
Ray, a busy man, will kick off again. Harmon out to the 15 and twist down at the 18-yard line. So much of the drama of this one is gone. It appears UCLA with a win, and they're getting ready in Miami.
Thank you, Dick. The Orange Bowl rocking already, awaiting the kickoff of this game for the national championship. Number 1 Penn State and number 2 Oklahoma. Something that's interesting, the matchup. Barry Switzer calls his offense high power, high risk, and the Penn State tacklers, impact people, are going for the ball.
Well, the Nittany Lions like to get that ball, give a short field for their offense. We'll see a great freshman tonight, Jamel Holloway of the Oklahoma Sooners.
We'll be back with the Orange Bowl. Now back to Dick and Merlin at the Rose Bowl.
All right, Don Cricky, Bob Trumpy will look forward to your call. Chuck Long underneath to Harmon to the 19-yard line. Going back to that point about Big Ten teams being favored and now apparently losing again in Pasadena, maybe the point should be switched the other side. Maybe the West Coast teams have been underrated.
I think that this particular game today is an example of that. UCLA's team, one of those teams that could have had, as you mentioned at the top of the show, an undefeated season. And I think they were kind of sneaking up here in this ball game today.
Long down the middle, and that is the first catch of the day for Scott Helverson. There's Eric Ball. So close, within a foot of scoring a record 5th touchdown. Matt Stevens took the steak right out of his mouth there and snuck it in from 1 yard out. 191 yards for that freshman today. What a way to start a year.
As a freshman, he's got a long ways to go.
Long, good fake, throws to the tight end flag, and a first down at the UCLA 46. 5 minutes and 34 seconds left. UCLA 45, Iowa 20.
You've got to feel a heavy cloud just hanging over that Iowa sideline. Their incredible disappointment at the game they played out here against Washington, a 28-0 loss, feeling that they had so much more that they could bring to this game, and indeed they did. But it's been a sad day for them nevertheless.
Harmon, and he is in the grasp of Ken Norton Jr. The dad is here, Ken Sr., the heavyweight champion. He said, I don't want my son to box. He got himself an education, an outstanding high school athlete at Westchester High School in Southern California.
You know, we talked about nostalgia. I started playing football in shoes like that, those high tops. Everybody started wearing the low cuts for a long time. Now they've gone back full circle to the protection of those good old high tops. I love it.
You still wear them with your tuxedo. Boy, and I'm talking to a man voted by Football News as one of the 10 best sports personalities of the country.
No, best dressed.
Oh, best dressed.
People in football.
In football.
Yep.
Is that when you wear that flannel shirt with a bow tie? Does that get it for you? Or what?
Dick, it's not the clothes, it's the way you wear them.
That's true. I don't mean to even make jest of your attire. You are a bon vivant. It kills me. You made the top 10.
You may get on it yet.
I don't know. 4 minutes and 51 seconds left. Vaughn would like to at least get some window dressing. That's Robert Smith. Inbounds. That'll stop the clock while they move the chains up on the first down. 18 yards on the play. And then it'll start again as soon as they're set. Price and Taylor in on the tackle. Harmon has caught 11 passes. That's a career high for him. And, of course, the all-time Iowa receiver, Kevin Harmon, is in now, number 28. Smith again. Hit hard. Chucky Miller. Miller at one corner and Dennis Price at the other, both from Long Beach Poly High School teammates. Eric Ball, Chance Johnson, a couple of freshmen. Wouldn't you like to be able to eavesdrop on that conversation?
My. It's, you know, looking over at UCLA, they're just waiting to explode, too.
Long, underneath, and James Washington following in the tradition at that position. Kenny Easley and then Don Rogers, and now Washington, another brilliant player at that safety spot. Kevin Harmon took the punishment.
Here's what we were talking about earlier, where we mentioned that there's a kind of a casual off-the-back foot throwing style for Long. Watch him here. He just unloads that football, really doesn't follow through to the front foot, but has such a strong arm and such a powerful wrist action that he overcomes that stride.
That's Kevin Harmon for a first down at the 11-yard line.
Long's numbers on the day, and we'll get them for you, have to be tremendous.
We're going to update them for you right now. 28 for 36. Joe Costanza, our statistician, 308 yards. 1 intercept, no touchdowns.
Now, the only bad news is that last one. They have not been able to get that ball into the end zone.
Not all his fault, though.
No.
Here's a chance, and Bill Hackle, touchdown.
There it is.
So father and son can share the same Rose Bowl memory, both with a touchdown. Bill Sr. in a victory here in 1957.
Here's Hackle coming all the way across, ducking to the outside. One-on-one coverage, Dennis Price. But that ball perfectly thrown, and he got 1 foot down. That's all he needed.
Yeah, that'll have them warmed up a bit in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. 50 catches on the year for Happel. They're going to go for a 2-point play. The Helverson incomplete. Chucky Miller on the coverage, and a flag is down. And while they sort that out, let's go to the Orange Bowl in Miami and Don Criqui.
Thank you, Dick. Big numbers at the Rose Bowl. We're waiting to see what will happen in this battle for the national championship at the Orange Bowl. Number 1, Penn State, and number 2, Oklahoma. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Both these teams like to run the ball. Barry Switzer, Trump says he'd like to see his team pass in pregame warm-ups.
Yeah,
they're going to run the ball when they start to play, but Joe Paterno might have to have a throwing
Well,
team.
I'll tell you what, though. I'd like to see Penn State give it to their big fullback, Smith and Manoa, really bang it at that Oklahoma defense.
Now let's go back to Dick and Merlin at the Rose Bowl.
They're trying to hurry this one along to get to you in Miami. UCLA penalized half the distance to the goal. It's Iowa with a second chance at a two-point play. And indeed, this a high-scoring game. Roughing the passer was the call against Long, who is on his way to the Japan Bowl after this one, where Hayden Fry will coach the team. He'll take along Larry Station, Ronnie Harmon, and Bill Happel to play for him. East-West Shrine game, Scott Helberson will play there. And it's Kevin Harmon, younger brother of Ronnie, who picks up 2 in the Rose Bowl. That brings the score to 45-28.
There'll be a couple of UCLA players over that Japan Bowl. John Lee will be over there, and Dave Norrie and Mike Whalen. The Hula Bowl is going to see Tommy Taylor and Mike Sherrard. And in the East-West game, Mike Hartmeyer. So both of these teams well represented on the postseason classics. And I tell you, it's good for some of those Iowa players in particular. This game is not going to wear well.
Bill Happel and his father, he now has completed the cycle, and he was thinking about it before the game.
I never really dreamed I'd get a chance to play in the Rose Bowl, knowing that my father played in the Rose Bowl, and it's quite a thrill for me to be playing in it and ending my career here. And I've been told from other people, my dad never really talked about it a lot, but that my dad scored a touchdown, and if I could do that, that'd be a great way to end it.
Well, part of it works. He did get his touchdown, although in apparent defeat. Here's the onside kick, and again well covered by UCLA. With 24, Marcus Turner on the spot for the Bruins. By the way, Happel's catch was his 8th touchdown catch of the year. That's a new Iowa record. Well, it would appear that UCLA was such a young team. Terry Donahue has something really powerful going out in Westwood. He in 10 years has developed a solid program that would have to rate in the top 10 or 20 in the country. Eric Ball. The kid isn't through yet, apparently. He's to the 34-yard line. He's close to 200 yards for the day. Dan Worth and Ken Sims with a tackle. Well, let's see how our friends from Tokyo are covering this Rose Bowl, so it's kind of fun to eavesdrop on them. There they are, located just above us here at the Rose Bowl. Let's hear their call on this first down play.
ご覧のようにしっかりとくれました。まあちょっとローズボール記録にはですね、難しいかと思うんですけどね。さあ今度ボールオンは敵陣の34ヤードまで来ています。もう一回ボール。しかしこれアイオワのディフェンスどうなっちゃったんでしょうか。これはもうどうしようもない、もうズタズタになりましたね。本当に組み立てようがないんですね。
Yeah, but can they do the telestrator?
Well, I heard him say great acceleration. I knew that.
17 more yards for Ball. He has 219 unofficially for the afternoon. One of the great rushing days in Rose Bowl history, recorded by a freshman. There's Ball at 219, they say now. 247 the record by Charles White. Ball with 4 touchdowns, tying Sam Cunningham's modern-day record. Let's give it to someone else, says quarterback Matt Stevens. It's Marcus Greenwood, who started his collegiate career. No, that isn't. That's Danny Thompson, number 15. Thompson, a freshman from Huntington Beach High School, Southern California. Now both coaches using some reserves.
There comes David Norrie. He's going to get his chance. He's going to have his opportunity to at least get into this ball game.
Stevens getting a big standing ovation from the UCLA partisans across the way. And there's Norrie from Portland, Oregon. Went to Jesuit High School. battled for 4 years on the bench and earned the starting role as a fifth-year senior, only to miss the start in the Rose Bowl. He gives to the right man. He's been watching. Eric Ball again, running at will through the Iowa defense. Dave Haight, the younger brother of all-conference tackle Mike Haight on offense. Dave Haight, 64 on defense. Both men and women who are responsible for our coverage at the Rose Bowl today. Thank you all. First and goal for the Bruins at the 6-yard line. Greg Francois is that James Primus. It's Francois, number 33. All those who have spent their New Year's holiday preparing for our telecast from Pasadena. Fans who are alert to Ball's heroics today. The freshman trying to get him back in the game, but I believe that's going to be all for him. He undoubtedly will be the most valuable player. Norrie trying to get the Bruins into the 50s. With just 17 seconds left, and apparently that will be it. They'll let the final seconds tick away. Another disappointing afternoon for the Big Ten and for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And the West Coast Pacific 10, UCLA, celebrate a very impressive win, 45-28.
An outstanding performance by the Bruins, who really came out of that underdog position to hand Hayden Fry and his favorite Hawkeyes a black eye.
So the 70s belong to the Pacific 10, and so it remains in the 1980s. UCLA 45, Iowa 28. Stay tuned for the Orange Bowl after these messages from your local station.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines. You're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies.
Now all eyes are on football, but Sunday, Hal Linden and Harry Morgan go from who won it to who done it in Black's Magic.
A real thriller, up for grabs all the way.
Seconds, stand by.
Act 1 unfolds in Tempe, Arizona, the Fiesta Bowl. 24 unanswered third-quarter points for Michigan. 2 touchdowns for quarterback Jim Harbaugh. Then they hold off a late Nebraska rally. The Wolverines win 27-23. Act 2 in Pasadena. Eric Ball, 19-year-old freshman, scores a record-tying 4 touchdowns. A near-record 228 yards on the ground. And another victory for the Pac-10 over the Big Ten, 45-28. Now the finale as we go to Miami.
Play like Mega champion, a sign that's been part of the Oklahoma locker room for decades. Every Sooner taps the sign before he takes the field. The Oklahoma Sooners, #2 in the nation, still smarting from an upset loss to Washington in the Orange Bowl a year ago. Tonight, the Nittany Lions of Penn State come in undefeated and #1 in the country, but they are a decided underdog. Good evening, everyone. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpiana. Great night in Miami, Florida for this most important game, a matchup of college football heavyweights, and they both trained hard for this showdown. Penn State coach Joe Paterno says, Trump, he's never had a more dedicated, hard-working football team.
And I tell you what, too, Penn State is looking for respect. When it was very obvious a number of weeks ago that Penn State was going to play a New Year's Day bowl, Paterno went to the team and said, where do you want to go? The team said, we want the biggest challenge. Tonight they find it in Oklahoma, a team that's been here an awful lot. And as you said, a year ago, they lost their chance for the national championship. Players are rededicated this year. They came down December 20th, have worked very hard for this showdown with the #1 team in the country, Penn State.
On the field to also cover the game, former Dolphin great Bob Griese and a former Penn State and Dolphin standout Jimmy Cephalo. Bob?
Thanks, Don. And you know, Jimmy, the key to this game may get down to the quarterbacks. For Penn State, John Schaefer, I think he's going to have to establish the pass very early to take some pressure and put some pressure on that Oklahoma #1 defense. On the other side of the field, I think Jamel Holloway, he's the leader of the wishbone offense, and I think he's going to have to keep the ball off the ground and really try to get something going for that offensive team.
Well, emotionally, Holloway will have to play very well. He's just a freshman, as you mentioned. It's interesting to note that early in the week, the Penn State team seemed very quiet, very sedate, maybe a little bit too tight, while the Oklahoma players were more boisterous, having a good time here in South Florida. But that changed when they came onto the field tonight. Penn State seemed to be more enthusiastic, jumping around, slapping each other on the helmets, while the Oklahoma Sooners were more quiet.
We'll be back with the kickoff. #1 Penn State, #2 Oklahoma, the national championship tied to the outcome in just a moment.
It's a small company. In fact, you're looking at the entire staff. But to the client, they looked as professional as their biggest competitors. Maybe that's because Team Xerox studied their documents and came up with a solution, including a Xerox memory writer for perfect letters and a new desktop Marathon copier, which gave them big features at a small price. At 9 a.m., they presented their case. By 4 p.m., they got one with a note saying, please thank your staff for such great work, which happily they did.
We got it! We got it!
Hey, OJ, how do I look?
That's not the way you dress when you're in a T-Bird, Arnie. Here, try this on. That does feel better.
Now you can rent a Thunderbird from Hertz for only $38.90 a day.
Boy, Arnie, this is living. You said it, OJ. Life in the fast lane. The glitter, the glamour, the lights, the fame. I created a monster.
Thunderbirds for only $38.90 a day at Hertz.
Here come the Sooners in their crimson and cream. A year ago, they came into the Orange Bowl a chance of the national championship, and a very sharply trained Washington team under Don James upset them 28-17, and the Sooners, Trump, have not gotten over that.
Well, there are a lot of players from the Oklahoma Sooners who, when they came to the Orange Bowl this week to practice, they were all mentioning they had bad memories of this place. The last time the Sooners played on grass was last year's Orange Bowl loss to the Washington Huskies. And Barry Switzer has put these guys through an awful lot of work. They came down here very early, had 2-a-days. Seems to be a rededication of the football team, and they're not to be denied tonight. But Penn State, on the other hand, I repeat, looking for respect tonight.
We know Mr. Fleming. They just did a coin flip with the new Statue of Liberty coin. About to do that right now as Michael Zordich, 43 to your right, steps in for the Nittany Lions. An All-American roverback, the hero they call him. He's a key to Penn State's stopping the wishbone if they can. Let's listen.
The committee has asked me to drop all 3. This is the only one that we're looking at. On this mark, there is a third statue of Liberty.
What kind of money are we dealing with here, Trumpy?
I don't know, but they got 3 coins there. Was it odd man out?
Now you got to figure it out.
That is a head. You'll take the second half of it. All right.
Wait a minute, did I just hear? They won the toss. Penn State won the toss, and they will go on defense. The choice is to Oklahoma, and Penn State has their choice to begin the second half. I think Joe Paterno wants to put his defense on the field first, Don. Interesting choice by Joe Paterno.
There's the engine you just saw in the Oklahoma offense. Quarterback Jamel Holloway is Coach Paterno in his 20th year as head man. A very quietly confident football coach that his team is ready for a super effort, and they're going to need one to beat an Oklahoma team that, since Holloway's taken over at quarterback, has averaged 38 points a game over the last 7 games. And Oklahoma, as you may know, is #1 in America in defense, giving up less than 9 points a game.
Penn State is not impressed, though. They really are not impressed. We can, I think, expect a couple of special defenses against the Wishbone. And I came down to Miami thinking that this was a slow team from the Northeast. I was wrong. Penn State's defense has outstanding quickness and speed, and I think they can compete with the Wishbone of Oklahoma, but that's the biggest problem that any team faces playing against the Wishbone, that great speed of Oklahoma.
Penn State has had problems defending option teams. A back from Temple, Paul Palmer, rushed for 215 yards against the Nittany Lions. They gave up over 400 yards to the Temple team. Did beat them. As you know, Penn State's won every game, some of them very close. Late in the season, though, they really got a cooking as they blew out Notre Dame and then Pittsburgh, and they rolled into this game with a 5.5-week layoff, having put in their hardest work ever for any football game under Paterno, and that's a lot of work.
Penn State also a streak of 5 straight bowl victories.
Back deep now for the Oklahoma Sooners, Anthony Stafford, a sprinter from St. Louis. He's a freshman, and Patrick Collins, number 33 from Miami, Florida. UCLA, a runaway victor, 45-28 in the Rose Bowl, just completed at Pasadena. You saw on NBC Sports, and here is Massimo Monte into the ball for Penn State. A spinner. And it's taken by Stafford. Anthony Stafford, the freshman, is cautioned to down the ball. So the Sooners send out their offense with freshman Jamel Holloway from Carson, California. He's been absolutely a standout since taking over when the regular starter fractured a leg. Waddell Carr, a power back to fullback, second leading rusher. Speed at the halfback. Spencer Tillman, a breakaway runner with power. And the other back, Patrick Collins, also a sprinter. Jackson, Keith Jackson, the sophomore tight end, some rate as the best in the country. Derek Shepard's the flanker. They don't go to him often, but he can get deep. Anthony Stafford now in the starting backfield for Oklahoma. 1st and 10 for the Sooners. Penn State comes a hit, and the freshman Stafford on what looked to be Trump, a trick play. It certainly didn't turn out to be one as Penn State stuffed it. All-American linebacker Shane Conlon, number 31, made the play.
Was going to be a reverse, but the big matchup that we're going to watch all night long is the center, Rich Ewells, against Mike Russo, the nose tackle. You see good penetration there by Tim Johnson of the Penn State defensive line. Jackson was the pitch man, gave it to Stafford, loss on the play.
And it's 2 at 2nd and 12. From the 18-yard line of the Sooners. This time they hit out to about the 22-yard line. Waddell Carr, the fullback, got the ball. He might see it a lot tonight, a sophomore from Enid, Oklahoma, averaging just over 4 yards a rush. Big offensive line, Eric Pope, is 275. Guard Mark Hudson next to him is 280. The center, Rick Ewells, an undersized center. The starter, Travis Simpson, went down with an ankle fracture. He's only 250. Paul Farrar is 260 at right guard, and Anthony Phillips could be a great one at tackle. He's only a freshman at 280 pounds. Holloway ties up, 3rd down, and Penn State shuts down the bone. So on 3 ties from scrimmage, the Nittany Lions break the bone early. Don Graham made that tackle, 53, a senior from Pittsburgh.
That's one thing you'll notice about the Nittany Lion defense. They attack that line of scrimmage. They've got defensive linemen who started out as linebackers, Don. Great mobility and great foot speed to get to that exchange point.
Mike Winchester is in to punt the ball now for Oklahoma. Jim Coates, the sophomore, is back. Very, very good return man for the Nittany Lions. Jim Coates Starts with an 8-yard return after a 45-yard punt by Winchester. Gives Penn State good field position, so Trump early, the initial decision by Paterno to kick off worked out well. We'll be back with Nittany Lions on offense right after this.
Imagine you were a car. What would you be? You'd be a sports car. You'd be quick, agile. You'd be turbocharged. And of course, you'd be a Porsche.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Hey, can I have a light?
whoa, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light.
Bud Light. So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
The 1986 Orange Bowl is brought to you by Porsche, inviting you to see the 944 and the new 944 Turbo at your authorized Porsche dealer. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. And by John Hancock Financial Services, meeting today's needs with a range of financial products. The 52nd Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy, Bob Greasy, and Jimmy Cephalo as the Nittany Lions of Penn State. Unbeaten, number 1 in the country, but a decided underdog, get the ball for the first time in this scoreless game. D.J. Dozier hits ahead, but a penalty marker goes down. Tony Rayburn, one of the safeties, made the stop for Oklahoma. Might have been motion in the Penn State offense. There was. Referee IA, all the officials from the Southeastern Conference. John Schaefer is the junior quarterback, completing only 45% of his passes, but he's 54-0 as a starting quarterback dating back to grammar school. Steve Smith, a power back, averaging 5 yards a carry, and he can block D.J. Dozier, the breakaway runner, averaging almost 5 yards a pop. Eric Hamilton, one of the wide receivers, they don't go to him often, but he can get deep, and so can the other, Ray Roundtree, averaging 20 yards a catch. The Oklahoma coaches are very impressed with Dean DeMidio, the tight end for the Penn State Nittany Lions. He's caught 4 for touchdowns this year. 0-0, Nittany Lions in white. After the penalty, it's 1st and 15. Dozier, change of pace move at 210 pounds. He can break tackles, and he's a sprinter. Offensive line, Stan Clayton, left tackle, 265. Mitch Farrat, next to him, weighs 260. The center is Scott Radisek. His brother, an All-American at Penn State, now at Kansas City. He weighs 255. Todd Moles is the anchor of the offensive line. And Chris Conlon's the biggest at 275 at right tackle. 0-0 the score. It is 2nd down and 11 for Penn State. Penalty marker down. DeMidio is the man they went to, and there could be a call here against the secondary of the Sooners.
Tony Rayburn will be called for pass interference. Barry Switzer is saying the ball is uncatchable. Flag should not be thrown. That's a 25-yard penalty. Actually, the pass shouldn't be thrown. He's thrown into double coverage back there, but still tries to get it to DeMidio. Turns out to be a big 25-yard gain. You can see Schaefer on 3rd down. He seems to be twice as good a quarterback as he is 1st and 2nd down. He knows there, I shouldn't throw it. He's thrown into double coverage. Yeah, all right, we'll take it. Any way we can get 25 yards, we're not proud.
25 yards is the assessment of penalty mark-off against Oklahoma, so the ball crosses midfield. Barry Switzer protesting from the moment the flag went down. We have 11:52 to play in the first quarter. There's no score. The Sooners, with their high-power wishbone, were shut down on 3 consecutive runs by the Penn State defense. Nittany Lions elected to kick off in this game. Now, 1st and 10, Penn State. Blood and Guts football right up Across the middle, the Nittany Lions go, and they take it down to the 42-yard line of Oklahoma. Steve Smith, a 235-pound fullback, ran it. Tony Casillas, maybe the premier defensive lineman in America. He got the Lombardi Award, a consensus All-American at nose tackle. Next to him is 275-pound tackle Jeff Tupper. Steve Bryan at 260 is an outstanding tackle for the Sooners. Linebackers very fast. Reed and Murphy on the outsides. Kevin Murphy got All-American mention. There's a breakaway run for the moment. Playing with the ball is Steve Smith again. Going at him with just anvil football, hammering at the Sooner defense. Ricky Dixon, the free safety, made the knockdown, but the Nittany Lions are down to the Oklahoma 36. Kevin Murphy, the outside linebacker we saw a moment ago. The inside backers are Paul Miliazzo and All-American Brian Bosworth, who got the first Butkus Award as the best linebacker in the country, and he's a sophomore. There's the secondary men. They switch them around. They'll play sometimes corner, sometimes safety. They've not given up a lot of yards to the pass, excepting in that one loss to Miami. Pitch back. Dozier. First down, he's working hard to the 30-yard line of Oklahoma. The linebacker, Kevin Murphy, knocked him down.
Big man to come back in the lineup for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, Dozier had that dislocated elbow. You can see the brace on his left elbow. We'll watch the Butkus Award winner Bosworth attacking that line of scrimmage. A good job by the offensive lineman Todd Moles, 63, getting Bosworth on the ground. It's a nice pickup for Dozier.
And the Nittany Lions running well. Smith 2 carries for 12 yards. Dozier 2 for 9. Second down and about 5. Play fake. Schaefer's got a man inside the 20-yard line. It's down to the 18 for a Penn State first down as Eric Hamilton goes high and comes down with a 12-yard reception. And Penn State early in this game is rolling against the #1 defense in the nation.
And I think a big part of the psychology of bowl games is you're not afraid of your opponent. Penn State has come out here. They win the toss, but they go on defense. Now on offense, they're hammering right at Oklahoma. That time, Derek White in coverage on Hamilton. And Schaefer with an outstanding throw right on the sideline. Good for a first down.
Joe Paterno told us, he said, we might need 200 yards passing the ball to win this game. They got 12 there. As the Nittany Lions are now well in field goal range. Out Kevin, deep throw. Ray Roundtree running down on the far flank. Can't get to the ball, so it'll be second down and 10 for the Nittany Lions at the 18-yard line of Oklahoma. Jamel Holloway, the engine in the offense, they call him, waiting for another crack at it to get back on the field. He was stopped on 3 straight downs.
365 days ago, he was sitting in Los Angeles watching the Orange Bowl with 8 of his teammates. And tonight, he's the starting quarterback.
He was the Los Angeles area player of the year. Banning High School, they won the city championship, and now he starts as a freshman. Right now, the Nittany Lions are moving on offense. Scoreless game. Dozier. He dislocated an elbow in the final regular season game against Pitt. Came back, says he feels fine, and he looks it tonight as Bosworth got him. Ryan Bosworth, the hitting linebacker for Oklahoma.
His defense is so built around the nose tackle and the inside linebackers. Bosworth and Miliazzo cover that tackle-to-tackle area as well as any set of linebackers I have ever seen in college football, Don.
8th play of the drive coming up. 47 yards in the first 7 for Penn State. This is their first possession. It's 0-0. Schaefer cocks and fires, and Roundtree comes down with the ball. Hamilton coming up. Eric Hamilton comes down with a 14-yard reception to the 2-yard line. Ricky Dixon, the free safety, saved a touchdown, if but for the moment.
Roundtree was open earlier. Schaefer holds this ball a long time from behind the defense, and you can see he's waiting for him to cross.